Hi everyone, we have Luke Harrison with us today. Luke co-founded Keaton Harrison LLP in May 2020. He's also the co-chair of LIDW. He's recognized by Chambers and Partners 2019 as being a very commercial litigator with a real eye for detail. I would like to begin this interview with my first question about your journey in dispute resolution and as a co-chair for LIDW.
Well, thank you for having me on this video. My journey through various different roles at London International Disputes Week coincided with setting up my own firm, Keaton Harrison LLP, in 2020. And I think what that really does is demonstrate how inclusive LIDW is and the spirit of collaboration which runs through the ethos of LIDW. My firm is a small boutique dispute resolution firm that does international disputes, but from solely a London base. And it's very important for us to have good relationships with firms in other jurisdictions, in particular with our friends and colleagues in India. But we work alongside other London firms and chambers, as well as dispute resolution service providers, experts, etc. In collaborating to bring LIDW to the global disputes community. And the spirit of collaboration between firms from different jurisdictions, firms large and big, people practicing in different areas of dispute resolution is really at the core of LIDW.
My second question is, what in your opinion makes London a good option or you can say a popular center for dispute resolution?
But I think there are a number of factors, English law being one of the prime factors. There are over $70 trillion worth of business done every year on the basis of English law contracts. So London is a jurisdiction obviously well versed in addressing disputes that arise out of English law, and that probably makes it the primary reason. But in addition to that, the English High Court and arbitrators based in the jurisdiction are some of the most trusted neutrals for the resolution of disputes in the world. And we have this unique combination in London of both a very respected arbitration community and English courts which are supportive to arbitration, don't interfere with arbitration, but can be counted upon to address issues that arise in arbitration if things have gone contrary to the rules by which the arbitration should participate. I think all of those features together make London a very attractive place for people to resolve their disputes, but also for people to come and talk about how to resolve disputes in various different parts of the world.
That's true. I think there will be a lot other options coming as other countries are also picking up as becoming the hub for dispute resolution. And probably in my next set of questions, I'll be asking some of those questions as well. My next question to you, Luke, is that how do you think events like LIDW aid in enriching the dispute resolution practice globally?
So I've sort of informally been calling LIDW the Davos of disputes weeks, and that's been rather deliberate because we are not a centre for promoting what we do just in the UK, just in London. We are a disputes week which is essentially a big marquee for people from all over the world to come and set out their own stalls and talk about what they do in their jurisdictions. And what I have noticed over my career is that there is an increasing localization of dispute resolution, whether that be in India, whether it be in centres in Eurasia, whether it be in the Middle East, courts like the DIFC, the ADDM courts, and arbitration centres that are being set up in jurisdictions around the world, Africa, South American countries, etc. And this is very positive because it means that clients have got the opportunity of resolving disputes locally in a local market, but based on trusted principles of natural justice, which often emanate from what we've been practicing in England and Wales and in London for many years. So we are now very much about providing a home for people to come and share experiences, share expertise, forge relationships, start collaborating, and that is really key to the success of London International Disputes Week.
What is, in your opinion, are the emerging centers of arbitration to look out for?
Well, I think Singapore has always been one of the jurisdictions that has attracted a lot of arbitration, particularly from the Indian subcontinent. But we are seeing a lot more arbitration now happening locally in the Middle East with the SCCA, DIAC, and other regional arbitration centres. I think for disputes in those jurisdictions, we're going to see a lot more locally resolved disputes. I think there are emerging dispute resolution centres in other parts of the world, and I still think there's a little bit of nervousness as to how they are going to perform in circumstances where ultimately the arbitration doesn't necessarily go as the parties would have liked, or there are concerns about neutrality. So I think those centres, like India, like the Middle East, where you have got local supportive courts, are centres which are going to thrive.
And as a co-chair of LIDW, could you throw some light on what could be expected at this event this year?
So we have a very packed schedule. Monday is International Arbitration Day, when there are over 16 events focusing on various different jurisdictions, India being one of them. I believe we have the next Lord Chief Justice of India speaking at one of those panels. The evening of the 3rd of June is a gala reception at the Grand Connaught Rooms. We've got a capacity for up to 1,000, and this is the first time we've had a formal opening ceremony. And then Tuesday, we have the core conference at the QE2 Centre, just opposite Parliament Square. That's got a capacity for 800, and we've got some of the most well-known names in global dispute resolution speaking, including Meg Kinnear from ICSID and the World Bank. A number of in-house lawyers are also on various panels throughout the day, so that delegates really get the opportunity to hear what the clients want. That evening, there is a cocktail reception, and in addition to that, we have the first of our what we call our Yaya events. Now, Yaya is something that we set up right at the beginning of London International Disputes Week, so that it was a space for the young and young at heart. There is a Yaya advocacy training program in the afternoon organised by GAR on Tuesday, and in the evening they have a series of Yaya supper clubs, which again is designed to build relationships and forge collaboration. We then have the member hosted event program that takes place between Wednesday and Friday, and it's been the most successful from all of the editions of LIDW. We are expecting to have somewhere in the region of 150 individual events, which are all free to attend, capacity ranging from 40 to 200 for each of those events. And they cover a very wide range of specialist topics, so there's something for everybody. Wednesday evening sees another core social engagement, which is a dinner at the Royal Lancaster with a capacity of 1,000 people. That we hope will build on the success of the gala dinner last year. And then Thursday sees London play host to the 15th anniversary party of Law Rocks. Those of you who have been to one of the Law Rocks events around the world will appreciate how much fun they are, but also what an excellent job they do for raising money for good causes. And this is proving to be the biggest Law Rocks edition over their 15-year period. And it's at the home of Law Rocks, because the founders of Law Rocks are based in London. And that really just brings us into the final day of member-hosted events on the Friday. For those that are particularly energetic, there is a run that takes place on the Friday morning at 7:30, and we sort of bring the day to a close Friday afternoon.
My next question to you, Luke, is given your reputed practice of yours in this field, what do you think are the upcoming challenges associated with the global dispute resolution scenario?
I think the biggest challenges for parties, and this really ties into our theme for the week, which is uniting for global challenge and opportunity, are essentially the challenges that arise out of both geopolitical and military conflict, and economic challenges that are happening in various parts of the world, including in the UK. And these geopolitical and economic challenges are manifesting themselves in the sorts of disputes that we are seeing in both litigation and in arbitration. And they involve fairly unique challenges. The issue of sanctions has become a mainstay issue that parties need to think about when onboarding new clients from certain jurisdictions, and the economic difficulties that clients find themselves into or find themselves affected by also require a different way of thinking about the resolution of disputes.
What new stakeholders may be seen in future in the dispute resolution sphere and subsequently at the future LIDW events?
I think that technology companies are going to be important new stakeholders in the dispute resolution space. We're already seeing significant rapid advances in the use of artificial intelligence, and indeed artificial intelligence is a topic which will feature quite considerably throughout the LIDW week. I think what this means is not that we're all going to be replaced as lawyers by robots, but that we will rapidly, I think, see a lot of the more monotonous, time-consuming and expensive, quite frankly, tasks that lawyers are performing outsourced to artificial intelligence, meaning that lawyers end up doing different roles. They end up guiding the artificial intelligence to perform the function, and I think we may end up seeing a lot more disputes arising out of the use of artificial intelligence where people can't necessarily ascribe fault or where things have not necessarily happened as had been predicted. But technology is going to play a vastly important role, and say those technology providers will be very important stakeholders in the dispute resolution process going forwards.
Just with this question, I have one question which I think being asked everywhere. Do you see AI a threat in the arbitration or in the dispute resolution scenario? Do you see AI as a threat for the arbitrators?
I think there are certain types of disputes that lend themselves to resolution via AI in a quick and efficient way. I think one of the examples which I would suggest works well for AI would be parking fines. There are already sort of relatively streamlined ways for determining disputes over parking fines, and I think most people would probably be reasonably satisfied with a quick decision by AI in that regard. I think complex international arbitration is not an area where we're going to see, certainly in the short term, decision making by AI, but it is coming, I think, over a period of time. I think what we may see is more use of AI to assist in presenting facts and gathering information together. I think we may see the use of AI testing what the human analysis of the facts is, because it's a relatively quick and easy way to sense check what you think is the likely factual conclusion. But I think at each step of the way, there are real dangers in placing too much reliance on software where we don't ultimately understand exactly how it comes up with the decisions that it comes up with. So I think we're a long time away from arbitrators being replaced by AI bots in large international disputes.
There are a lot of theories which are coming that AI can become a threat if it is not being used smartly. And second last question, Luke, is how do you see India in terms of scope of dispute resolution?
Well, India is a very exciting market, and it's a market that my firm has had quite significant involvement with for a number of years. My partner, Mark Keedon, has got very deep relationships on the subcontinent, and we are acting in a number of disputes that arise from India with a London or an English law nexus. I think what's particularly interesting is that it's a jurisdiction which is grounded in English principles of common law. It has a very highly educated population in the professional services sector, and extremely entrepreneurial. I think the Indian practitioners are some of the most entrepreneurial lawyers that I have ever come across. So I think it's for practitioners in London, it's both an opportunity and a threat. But in terms of the threat aspect, what I really mean by that is more domestic work by practitioners in the region for clients in the region, as opposed to going abroad to buy services. Now, you might think that that's a bad thing for London, but actually I think that it creates opportunities. One of the opportunities that we've seen is the opportunity for co-counselling on cases, and that works very well because you can put in elements of expertise from London or other jurisdictions, but work alongside the local Indian team, which has the effect of keeping costs down, ensuring that there's somebody on the ground close to the client, but also building expertise where you have practitioners based in India working alongside practitioners in London-based teams on an active live case. It naturally builds expertise for both perspectives. The UK lawyers really get to understand much more about the cultural way of doing business, the customs and practices in India, and the Indian lawyers get to see how practitioners in England work on complex and challenging disputes. So I think it works for all sides, and parties I think have got to be prepared to think creatively, if I may say so, with the Indian entrepreneurial spirit in deciding how these cases are going to be resourced going forwards, rather than seeking to essentially take control of the work and run it all locally.
Now, this brings to my last question, Luke, that you're wearing many hats. You were also recognized as a commercial litigator with a real eye for detail. How do you manage it all so well?
Well, I think the secret is that there are very good teams that I work with, both in the firm and as part of London International Disputes Week. In the firm, we have an excellent team of associates, managing associates, paralegals. Two of my colleagues, in fact, are Indian nationals. One worked at leading Indian firm Trilegal before joining us. And the the team at LIDW, we put together just after our strategy day last year, and there are about 65 people all together working on putting LIDW together, and we've all got defined roles across different subcommittees, and what that's meant is that people have all been pulling together and supporting each other in putting on what is likely to be the largest global disputes week this year.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Luke, for giving your time to us. And I'm sure this interview will benefit a lot of people from the lawyers from the fraternity who are looking forward to attend LIDW and also inspired from your journey.